Uh, Rogie, the Saturday or Sunday's game, whatever day that was, an OT playoff game. You guys have had a lot of those the past few years. I think back to the NCAA tournament a year ago, and then I believe it was 2 years before that, the series with Bemidji. How different do those feel than maybe some of the tight games you're in at the end of the regular season? And do you guys feel any more comfortable in those OT do or die situation games now compared to maybe in the past?
Definitely. I think when you're in those situations, you get more comfortable as they happen more often. We obviously don't want to be in those situations if we don't have to. But when you've been in there a couple of times and you know we can win them, I think it brings a little bit of comfort level. I remember how confident we were when we were in the locker room waiting for the resurface. There was no doubt in our minds that we were going to come out with that win. We just are so confident in our group. We've been through a lot of adversity this season, so I think that really helped us as well.
Where does that confidence come from? Does it come from in how you're playing? Does it come from like you were in an OT game in the NCAA tournament, two in the NCAA tournament a year ago, and you won one. You had the four OT against Bemidji, and I know you didn't win that one, but like where does that confidence come from?
I think just the team that we have this season, you can easily look back at the past seasons, but not everyone was in that situation on our team now. So I think it's just knowing what our team has got through this season, and knowing how good we are and seeing every day in practice what we can accomplish. I think that's where the confidence come from. We play a ton of small area games and we put a lot of pressure on those in practice. And I think when we're able to win in those situations, it can translate over into games as well.
How much does it help having it's a different team, but you have a lot of pieces back from last year's team, and you have Jiggy who's been in these situations, conference and NCAA tournament before. How much does that experience help in these big games where everything's on the line?
It's always helpful to bring in players like Jiggy. She just is always so fun to be around. She makes every situation fun. She's so talented too, but it's definitely the experience of our team that we brought back from last year helps. But we just know that we have a special group and that something is going to happen with this group, and we hope it's something good.
I've heard a number of the Twin Cities players on this team call Ritter a second home. If I remember back to the final face-off last year against the Buckeyes, you could see why that place gets packed with a lot of your friends and family. What is it about that building that makes it a place that you guys are comfortable with, where other teams probably aren't as comfortable going and into the Gophers home rink?
Yeah, I'd say half of the kids on our team are from that area. So I think that helps a lot that it's easier to travel for families. It's easier for old teammates to come, old coaches. And I remember playing sections games there when I was in high school. So it's just somewhere that I've been super comfortable with. And I played countless games there in college as well. So it's just super, super comfortable situation where you're able to go in, you know what the rink's going to look like, you know how the boards work, you know that the sound of the rink's always going to be loud. And it's just such a fun experience to be able to look up in the stands and see so many familiar faces that are supporting your team. And I think that's super special.
What is the makeup for a Bulldog Gopher game at Ritter? Is it 50-50, 60-40?
That's a great question. I think our fans usually sit like across from the benches, so we're able to see the Bulldog fans more. So hopefully more 60-40 in favor of the Bulldogs, but that's a great question.
They're all in maroon and gold, so it doesn't matter.
I was gonna say maybe have some friends that are rooting for, not necessarily rooting for a single team in their coming to see friends from both teams, I guess.
Yeah, I know Hengler on the Gophers. We played together in high school, so I know our high school coach is coming. So I think he's just rooting for whoever to win. I'd like to say he was rooting for the Bulldogs, but you gotta root for your former players too.
Naomi, kind of talk just about Minnesota, just in general. In past years, it's always like, well, I hope we can play well. You know what I mean? Even if you compare it to your freshman year, but now where's the confidence level at when you guys take on these elite teams, not only in the conference, but in the country?
We've beat the best teams in the country throughout this season. So I think we have that confidence going for us. It's not that we haven't beaten them yet this year. I think what we come out with 2 wins now against them, one of them in overtime and then one of them at Ritter. So we know we can beat the best teams. And yes, we obviously want to play our best game, but we know that they're going to be a good team. It's going to be a good battle, and we just got to go out and play our game, and good result will happen.
Is there anything you can take from those games, or is it a situation where the two teams play each other so much that everyone's able to kind of adjust to each team's, tendencies?
Yeah, it's kind of been a while since we played them. We played them the end of our first semester, so we're definitely different teams now. So it's hard to say how we're going to approach the game, but I know we're going to focus on ourselves and prepare for the best that we can. Because if we play our best team hockey, I really think that we're going to have a great game against them.
Has it been hard not looking at the pairwise at all? I mean, most players say, hey, we block it off, we don't look, but is it tough? How do you guys kind of balance that, focusing on the game, but knowing that, whether you get in or not in the NCAA tournament really matters when it comes to those kind of rankings?
I think we like to focus on just the game in front of us. And if we're able to win that game, it's going to set us up in a good situation for pairwise. I don't think there's been a lot of talk in the locker room about it. We really don't focus on that too much. We know we want to win our tournament. We want to win our conference tournament. That's something that we've always wanted to do. So if we're able to do that, then we don't have to worry about pairwise. So I think we're just focusing on the next game and win that next game, and we'll get put into a good situation.
Naomi, any thought of this is maybe just round 1 of 2 with the Gophers in the postseason here, that you guys probably are going to be back there again in 2 weeks?
Maybe. We never know. We never know how the pairwise will lay out, but hopefully it's not the last time playing them, because it's always fun playing them, but we have to beat the best teams in the country if we want to have the trophy at the end of the year. So if that means playing them again, we'll definitely do it.
And Naomi, what does this rivalry mean for the girls in the locker room? Obviously, you said like half the girls are from the Twin Cities area. What does this rivalry mean to you guys, and how important is it for you to get this win to kind of have those bragging rights over it's probably some of the people that you know?
Yeah, it's super fun to play against them. I remember we were down at Ritter. We write notes to each other before every game, and Kleiner was writing to me, and she's like, let's show who the real maroon and gold is. And I was like, that sat with me, and I was like, wow, like, yeah, I want to be the top maroon and gold team in the state. And I think that's super important to our team, is that rivalry between Minnesota and Minnesota Duluth has been around forever. And if we're able to come out on top, it's a lot of pride to our school.
And just one final for me. How do you think that final game against Mankato prepared you guys for this matchup? Obviously, it was do or die for you guys in that moment. How do you think it prepares you for this one as well?
Moments like those grow our team so much. I think those games only make you better. Going out and winning 6-0, yeah, it's great, but it's not going to prepare you later down the road when you are in those situations. So it helped us a lot. It was a little scary. You never want to be in those situations, but that's what playoff hockey is about, is playing when it matters and showing up when it matters. And that's definitely what our team did.
Anybody else for Rogues? No, awesome, Rogues. Go get your workout on.
Thank you. See you guys.
Nice
Nice
Coach,
job.
put you up
Thank you.
next.
Maura, I'm wondering if you noticed anything different in your team, how they approached that OT game the other day after their experience a year ago in the NCAA tournament. Because overtime during the regular season, when, hey, you can still play the next day, is a lot different than overtime when this could be it. And that could have been it. I don't know how the pairwise would have shook out and everything, but I'm wondering if—
I don't know that I agree with that. If you look at the pairwise, it wouldn't have been it. So
yeah,
it would have
I
been
see.
into
Yeah, I
the
see what—
WCHA tournament, which is important to us. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know with Harvard and Clarkson also losing there, that helps your guys' case and such. But is there Naomi talked about the confidence. Where do you think that comes from? Does it come from? Is it a combination of everything that these players have gone through? Whether it's this season or last season and such?
Yeah, I think like Rogie was alluding to, it's mostly this season. You can rely back on the Frozen Four, but it's a different team. And we've played 35 games now. and within those 35 games, we've been battling. There have been the blowout wins, but there have been a ton of close wins, and the big ones, usually come down to really high pressure moments. You go a weekend before and we scored 2 goals in the last minute, one with 9.3 seconds. Now that might have pushed us into an area on the pairwise that would have been really dangerous. There are a million of them. Holding a 1-0 lead over Ohio State, a 0-0 ball game down there, and their first ever loss, right? 0-0 up until the last minute we score and hang on for the wins. Going into Wisconsin, overtime with Minnesota. I think it's more the experience throughout this year, and we put a lot of pressure on all of our regular season games because we are used to a 8-team NCAA tournament, and when you do stumble during the regular season, it has massive impacts at the end. So I think that's just the way we're programmed. And you heard Rogie say it, we're trying to win a league championship here first before we talk about the NCAA tournament. So I think it's the year and being prepared for it through 35 regular season games.
Your thoughts on the team and Ritter? Do you notice an extra spark, kind of twinkle in the eye when the players get to go down there? And do you as coaches, do you kind of sense a comfort level for the team there that, again, I don't think a lot of other teams can say they feel when they go into Ritter?
Yeah, it's definitely our second favorite rink, I would say, to play at. You can see it by our past performances. The atmosphere down there is fun. Like Rogues was talking about, the families, the old teams, the past experiences that they've had in big moments in high school games at Ritter. It's a part of their fabric here in Minnesota. So I think that energy is really fun, and it seems like we're down there a lot with the final face-off every year being there. So we know the layout, we know, like she said, the walls, the this, the that, and once the puck drops, you're just playing hockey, and it's a great place to play, and I'm assuming it'll be a great atmosphere this weekend in the tournament as well.
You feel, I know you mentioned once the puck drops, you play hockey, but the energy in that building, you talk about going to Wisconsin, and that's a sea of red. And while, yeah, everyone's wearing maroon and gold, and in Ritter, you still have a lot of friends and family and fans in there. How much do the players feed off that energy?
Yeah, we try to talk about energy and people in buildings and women's hockey games is so rare. To have sold out crowds or near sold out crowds is remarkable, and it's special, and it doesn't happen often. So I think energy in the building, whether it's for you or against you, having bands dueling it out, and mascots on the ice, that's what we work for. That's what I think women's hockey deserves. And so I try to talk about it as a positive, regardless what they're chanting or what team they're louder for when the puck goes in the net.
What stands out to you about Brad's team right now and the success they're having in the second half? Complete 180 from what they're experiencing a year ago at this time.
Yeah, and even, the talk about Minnesota at the beginning of the season, because they lost back to back to Ohio State, and oh boy, the Gophers, this, that, and the other thing. And I think that was all premature. Olympic years are different years, with the ability for different players to step up. Obviously Heisey and Barine are having standout seasons now because they're in the spotlight and they're taking it and running with it. So it just takes a little time, especially in the Olympic year, I think, for teams to gel. And that's what you're seeing from them in the second half. So they're playing well, and we wouldn't expect anything differently at this time of year. We saw it this past weekend. Every team is going to be giving us their best, and that's what you want. You want to be able to beat the best in order to be the best.
Your team's been on quite the run here in the second half as well. Do you think for both teams the strength of schedule early on, I think you might have touched on this a little bit at the beginning of the season, you guys played tough schedules in the first half before coming into the second half here. Did that help prepare, you think, both of these teams to what it seems like are peaking now going into the postseason?
Yeah, I think that's a great point, Matt. You know, it's the strength of schedule, the beasts that you're facing in October and sometimes even September, when your team has just been practicing for a month, that I think you need more time to see. So even if you win those games early, doesn't mean you're going to be winning the games in March. It's just, you know, it's just early hockey and you're figuring each other out. Now, when you win those games, you get a ton of confidence. And then if your schedule lightens up, then you start rolling, and then you have all this confidence heading into another tough matchup. Maybe now you're 6-0 and you have that. And if you stumble early and your schedule is tough and you go into a big foe with maybe not as strong of a win-loss record, it affects your mentality. So I think early in the season, a lot of the success is based on wins and losses and just the early confidence or lack of confidence for teams. Whereas now the whole thing's done. You know, we're 35 games in and you know what kind of team you have. And this is the true picture of your group for the most part, give or take, you know, injuries and different things like that. But I think it's a truer look at what the team is now than it was back in September.
35 games in, what would you say is the identity of this team heading into the postseason?
I love our group. I think, you know, we talk about it all the time, but we find different ways to win. You know, it's sometimes it's a high octane offense where we're putting pucks in the net left and right from all different people. Sometimes it's a tight battle like we saw this weekend. We can go up, we can lead, we can give up the lead, we can hang on, we can come from behind, we can hold on to leads. I think, you know, if you look at that, I think that's really important because you never know what kind of situation you're going to be in a given game. And yeah, we're the underdogs this weekend in whatever game we're going to be in, we're the underdogs. But like Rogue said, we have success beating these teams and that gives us so much confidence. And when you win games in different ways, by tight margins, by big margins, and you see different people on your team stepping up throughout the season, the group just really feels strongly about each other. They love each other and they believe in each other. So that gives us a lot of hope moving forward.
Are we going to see Maggie Flaherty at all in the postseason here? Is she going to be able to come back this year?
Not this weekend.
Not this weekend. Okay. Maybe for the NCAA tournament.
TBD.
TBD. Okay. How do you feel this team has handled not having her or, you know, she's in the locker room. So she brought a dog the other day on Instagram.
Yeah, her parents got a new dog for Christmas.
New dog. So she's still contributing in the locker room, bringing a dog in. But how is this team handling not having her back on the blue line? How do you feel that's impacting the team here?
Yeah, it's a big shakeup to our lineup. It's a big shakeup to our identity. So the first weekend that she was out, because she got hurt in the first Tuesday St. Cloud game, the first weekend she was out was Wisconsin. And, you know, that was a real test for our group to see how we did. And I couldn't be more pleased with the way we performed that weekend, particularly defensively. I think our defensive group came together in ways that I just hadn't seen till that point. And I think it, you know, through some tough adversity, you can find some real positives. And as I mentioned before about, you know, Olympic years or injuries, other people step up, other people have the opportunity to, you know, move into the spotlight. And I think as a team, we've figured out how to play our defensive schemes, and we're still figuring it out, but figuring out how to play our defensive schemes without her and figuring out how to put the puck in the net without her at the blue line, because boy, she created a lot for us throughout the season. But I think timing wise, it's good that we've had the past month or so to adjust to it. So we're used to not having her, unfortunately. And so I'm really happy with the way the team's played without her.
With that in mind, and also what you were talking about with the team identity, finding the ways to win, what was really the conversation in order to skate down this stretch on Sunday and make sure that while MSU tied it up, you guys were the ones that came out on top in overtime?
Yeah, that overtime lasted what, 2.5 minutes, 17:30. So that was really a quick, that was the fourth shift of the overtime. So the first line went out, second line, third line, first line went out again, and that's when they scored. So that happened really quickly. But the whole messaging that day was, more about our group. I think maybe we got a little distracted on Saturday about ending a season and focusing on how hard it is to do that versus just playing our game. And we tightened up a lot of things, I thought, on Sunday, and played a smarter hockey game across the board. And as I mentioned, the belief is always there in our room, regardless of the score, because we have proven to ourselves that we can win games in so many different ways. So that wasn't ever an issue, but it's just about the feeling. You got to be focused on the right things. And I think we were focused on the right things on Sunday, and a little less tense, if you can believe it. In the game 3, we were a little less tense and having a little more fun. And we're a group that really plays well when we're having fun and we're loose and sticking to our game plan.
How much does that refocus help heading into the Gophers?
Yeah, it's massive. It's a big momentum swing, obviously winning in the fashion that we did. That was really exciting, really fun. Love to see all the coverage that Jiggy's goal has been getting, and well deserved. But I think it's just another example of an awesome moment in the history of this program, and one that we all knew somebody would get it done. It just didn't know who. And I think we're feeling really good, and we're really excited about the future here, playing Minnesota, hopefully playing for a championship on Sunday, and going to the NCAA tournament and trying to do great things. So there's a lot of exciting hockey for us, and we're all very excited for it.
Anybody else for Coach? All right, you're up now, Taylor. You're done with class, and now you're on the hook here.
Yep, just finished. Thanks for waiting for me.
No, it's perfect timing. We'll dial her up here. Anyone who wants to talk to Taylor Anderson, here we go.
What class are you coming out of, Taylor?
Financial institutions.
That sounds
Super fun one, yeah.
the look Duncan just gave was the correct look there for that one.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, I don't miss college.
Yeah, thinking of sounds terrible right now. I don't even want to do that.
You guys always have tough majors. That's why I asked those questions to you guys. Taylor, for you, what's it like when you go back to Ritter, having grown up in the cities? What is that? Does that rink feel like a second home to you as well?
Yeah, I think growing up, going to camps there and, youth stuff there, it's always fun to go back. I mean, the atmosphere is amazing, and it's usually filled with a lot of our fans too, because so many of us coming from the cities, we have our parents there, grandparents, siblings. So I always love going there and be able to have my grandparents watch me.
What is the contingent that you personally get when you're playing at Ritter? Who all comes out usually to watch you play?
Oh, just about everyone. Grandma, grandpa, my sister's gonna be able to make it down there. I have cousins, aunts, uncles, and of course my parents there as well. And yeah, it's going to be a lot of people, so it's exciting.
What else is it about that building that makes it feel, like a second home? That's not something I don't think any other team in college hockey can say, that Ritter Arena is a friendly place to go into and play.
I think just having a packed stadium is super fun. They're loud in there. It's a good atmosphere, and there's tons of youth teams who are cheering for both sides, Gophers and UMD. And then, yeah, like I said, having all your family there is super awesome. And then a lot of us know the girls on the other team and grew up playing with them as well. So it's always good to go back there and see them and have a little rivalry with them a little bit.
I was going to ask, is there a comfort level too, just, facing the Gophers, whether it's the similar styles that these two teams play or the fact that everyone knows each other? And I'm guessing some of that style comes from the fact that it is a lot of, Minnesotans, playing against each other.
Yeah, I think it's fun and competitive because you're playing against your friends and you also know it's going to be a good hockey game. You know, good plays going around on both sides, good goals being scored, and just being out there. It's fun. You know, you hate losing to your friends. So you really, really go out there and want to beat them. I think that's a big thing for us.
Taylor, what was the feeling like going into that overtime period against Mankato on Sunday? And I'm wondering what previous experiences do you feel that this team was able to lean on, whether it was this year or previous years for you as you went into that, you know, do or die situation?
Yeah, I think playing at a top level last year, being in the national tournament, took some of the pressure off of the playoffs there too, because we had been in big games like that before. I think a lot of us were going back to the Bemidji game where we went into a ton of overtimes at Amsoil. So I think we had kind of been in that situation before. We knew we had our trainer coming in there telling us get food, get water, do what you can to get your legs back. Because I think we were in overtimes all the time last year. I feel like, you know, and it wasn't 10 overtimes this time, nice or thankfully, but I think since we've been in that position before, it was a good feeling to go into.
So that's why you guys scored so quick. You just wanted to make sure this didn't get anywhere close to 4 overtimes.
Yeah, we were like, let's just get in there, get it done, so we don't have to be here any longer.
Are there games this season you could lean on that maybe also you know, played a part? What are some hard, whether it was, you know, a good outcome, outcome, what games were you able to lean on maybe on that Sunday as well?
I think pretty much all the games we play in the WCHA are gonna be tough games. You never go into any of those games thinking, oh, we're gonna win this one 10-0. So I do feel like a lot of the games we played in this year were competitive, close games. I mean, you think about the Gopher series and the Ohio State series with Kylie Hanley scoring with 5 seconds left in the game, and just all playing those top teams so regularly is just really beneficial for our team.
Taylor, what kind of impact has it had on the team not having Maggie Flaherty in the lineup?
Oh man, it's tough. We've had a lot of girls step up, which is awesome. Our team is really good at that. You know, when someone's down, when they're sick, when they're injured, we have people that step up and do a great job with that. But Maggie's personality, her tough game, you know, she's going to be in front of the net protecting your goalie. So I think it's been really tough on all of us on the ice and off the ice, I think.
On the ice, where do you think the impact of her absence has been felt the most? Is it on the defensive end, the defensive play, or is it, you know, offensively, you know, you as a forward, what she's able to do to get that puck, you know, to the net and to you guys from the blue line?
Yeah, she's a strong player. Strong. She in front of the net defensively. She isn't afraid to hit girls out of there along the board. She's the first one in there to pin ya. You don't want to be on the inside of a pin with Maggie. And offensively too, she plays both ends really well. And as a forward, we recognize that a lot.
Who's kind of stepped up on the blue line and maybe help fill some of that void of Maggie, especially offensively?
The one person that comes to mind is Hannah Baskin. We have a freshman. She got called up, or she stepped up really well. I remember in Wisconsin, she just played an amazing game. And ever since then, she's just continued to progress. I think I give credit to all of our defensemen. They've done a really great job stepping up. I think of Taylor Stewart as well. She's a big body out there that's been pinning girls and in front of the net. So I'm really proud of our D corps for the way they've stepped up.
Taylor,
Hey, Taylor. Oh,
oh,
you
go
go.
ahead.
Sam. No, you go.
Taylor, just the confidence level that has kind of evolved in the last couple of years when you guys are going up against these teams, whether it be Minnesota, Ohio State, Wisconsin. Where have you seen that kind of grow to the point where you guys really don't care who you're facing on any given weekend?
I think coming in since freshman year, we've only gone up step by step. Last year, making it to the Frozen 4, I think was a huge turning point for our group. Just seeing that we can make it there, we can hang with those teams, and we want this year to come out differently and not just make it to the Frozen Four. We want to win it all. So I think that was a really big turning point for us, bringing UMD back to that Frozen Four.
Taylor, being from the Twin Cities, and a lot of the locker room also being from the Twin Cities and mostly from the Minnesota area as well. How much does this rivalry mean to you? And also, how much extra juice do you guys get for this game? Knowing you're playing the Ghosts and it's the Bulldog Ghost rivalry.
Yeah, I think we're fired up. We love playing them. We love beating them even more. I know having all of our family in the stands is only gonna make us more excited to go out there. There's not a lot of times when you have everyone there watching you live. So I think everyone's collectively super excited to go out there. It's a good hockey game, and yeah.
Also, how do you think that final game against Cato prepared you for this weekend? Obviously, it was do or die for you guys. You kind of have to sit back and wait if you guys lost. How do you think it kind of prepared you for this weekend?
I think it prepared us really well. I mean, I would rather have a close, tight game like that and see how our team comes out with it and gets together to get that win. I think that's really going to help us this weekend because we had to find a way to win and come together as a group really well.
Just what was that conversation like, to put the team up 2-0 and then to have them tie it up, but stick with it right away in overtime and get that goal? What did you guys have to do in order to, stay with it and know that, yep, we're going to get this win?
I think I heard Coach kind of mention it earlier. With our team, it comes down to take the pressure off and just have fun out there. If we would have gone intense and oh my gosh, we need to score right away, it probably wouldn't have come out the same way. But instead, we're just go out there and have fun. We have games and practices where it's that kind of situation, and we just have fun with each other. And I think that was a big part. As we got in the locker room and we're excited. We were excited to go out there again for another period. We were kind of oh, seniors, we're just wanting to give you another period at Amsoil. So it was more of that kind of environment. I think that helped us.